Live. We are live. Big show for you tonight. Great show. We have some big MMA beef going on, big drama. Two of the greatest to ever do it, two of the best fighters in human history are back at it, beefing again. These two absolutely hate each other, and now there's talks of a trilogy. They're both retired, but they cannot stop going at each other. Daniel Cormier has called out Jon Jones. Man, and he says Jon Jones is ducking him. We are going to get into all of this, man. It is getting crazy out here. DC calling out Jon Jones, man. I'm excited. I want the trilogy to happen, guys. Well, also, my name is King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach and I teach, coach and I train at Extreme Couture, the best gym on the planet. So oftentimes I have insider information into these sorts of things. And I hear some things that are happening that maybe other people don't know about, right? So in relation to this, maybe we're going to get into some details that aren't openly discussed. All right. But yeah, man, to start it off from the jump, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You have to have notifications on because I go live at random ass times. So if you want to hop on the chat with your boy, then bang that bell and turn on notifications. Hit the thing for the algo, bro, the like button. Let's go. Also, let me pull it up for you real quick. We got Real One shirts. You know how we do. Follow Fight Circus at Fight Circus and make sure you send your coach to studiomillions.com. We're going to get into it right now. I'm going to check the chat and then we're going to hop right on. Caffeine, guys, more caffeine. You know, when people ask me, how much caffeine have you had today? I said, not enough. Okay, that's the number. The number is not enough. I personally always can consume more caffeine. Do not do that ever. Never do that. That's not medical advice. We're built different. You know what I mean? Some people drink 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. Okay, that's how I operate. I would never recommend that to anyone. Okay, let me read the chat real quick. As Caban, all right, I'm getting it. What's up? Arpon the Don, the newest moderator in charge. Real One's in the chat. Shout out to Arpon. He just became mod. Let's go. We're ready for another good show. Bro, I appreciate you. I missed the last one. My bad, bro. Listen, bro. I go live every day. When was the last time? I haven't seen you on here for a minute, bro. I think you missed a couple more than the last one. More caffeine. Yeah, bro. Sponsor us, drink companies. Bro, we need that Zevia stevia flavored, natural sweetener, 400 milligrams of caffeine energy drink. I drink only Mountain Dew, Code Red, and about 420 ounces a day. All right, you're in the game. You're in the game. I don't know how much is in a Code Red, but yeah, man, that's you sounds like you're off to a nice start. You're off to a nice start. You're like at a blue belt level, maybe purple belt. Okay. It's an honor. Nah, I just don't talk all the time. Okay, cool. Bro, we'll hop in the chat, man. Say what's up. Drop an emoji. Do something, bro. Let's go. We go live daily. Turn on the bell so we don't miss a live or follow. Boom, King David MMA. Let's freaking go, guys. So Daniel Cormier has called out Jon Jones and he says Jon Jones is ducking him. He says that they got a multi-million-dollar offer, meaning they have both been offered more than $1 million each to wrestle each other. Okay, so DC says they've both been offered 7 figures, and he says the only reason this wrestling super fight is not going down because Jon Jones knows that Jon Jones would lose to DC in a wrestling match. DC further went on, and this in the wrestling community, bro. You say this to somebody, these are fighting words. DC says that he would beat Jon Jones 10-0, total shutout, tech fall, which is like the worst form of domination in wrestling. Okay, you can pin somebody, but people say that could be a fluke. If you beat somebody 10-0, man, you drug him. You freaking drug him. All right. Furthermore, DC says that because he knows he would win 10-0 and Jon Jones knows he would win 10-0. John Jones knows DC would win 10-0. That's why John Jones has not accepted this $1 million plus offer just to wrestle. No strikes involved. In fact, he says John Jones knows that John Jones would lose. And that's why John Jones keeps ducking this super fight. DC said that John has agreed to do a match with him, but changes the rules. He wants to add submissions. He wants a submission only match. He wants to have a time limit with, no point. DC saying there's all this stuff that John Jones is saying. Now, John Jones has come back and he says some stuff too. So John Jones has said, man, he would compete against DC again. It's like 3-0, no problem. He also, let me get the exact quote. Let me find it. I wrote it down because I was like, you know what? I need to have this exact quote. He called him a fucking little crybaby bitch. John Jones, these dudes hate each other. Okay, so now, I almost said I want to see this match, but there's a problem. Okay, so I would love to see these two compete. But the big problem is I got a hot take, guys. You know I come with the hot takes. This is unpopular. This is not the opinion people want to hear, but it's how I really feel. I like DC. I'm a fan of DC's work. I tap in, tell a friend that DC's got a YouTube channel, all that. I'm with that. Go follow DC. DC's the fucking man. Shout out to DC. But I do not want to see this super fight happen because I believe DC would lose. Yep, you heard it. I pick sides, guys. I believe John Jones would beat DC even in a wrestling match. Now, I know what the general population is crazy. Maybe you understand what I'm saying. But the majority of the MMA community is going to say, King David, you are crazy. You know why? Because DC was an Olympian and John Jones wrestled it like JUCO. And I'm going to say, bro, that's what they said about Jake Paul. Because people are not a fixed point in time. People are a continuum. At one point, I was a baby. I didn't have a black belt and a pro MMA title. I learned how to fight. Everybody on the planet was a baby. So if someone's an Olympic swimmer, they learn that. And at some point, they're going to be 100 years old and they're not going to be able to win the Olympics. So there's this continuum. Okay. So that's what humans are. We're not fixed points. So in this continuum, I believe there was a version of DC who at the time would have beat John Jones in a wrestling match. But here's the thing. DC has let his body go. He's looking a little big, okay? He's got a lot of extra non-functional weight on him. And John Jones is a bad motherfucker. So even though John Jones didn't wrestle at the level that DC may have achieved, John Jones was busy winning UFC world titles. John Jones was practicing wrestling. John Jones now trains with Gable Steveson, okay, who is an Olympic gold medalist and is like 300 pounds doing backflips, okay? You're not going to get better wrestling training than that, okay? So, furthermore, John is unorthodox. So let's call this box what every wrestler does. And then DC got to the point where he took, I believe, third in the Olympics, right? Because he was doing the wrestling thing against the other wrestler, and he was better at the wrestling thing than everybody except two people. John Jones is like, this is the box that everybody's playing in. Here's the actual box of what's possible in wrestling. And so John Jones has like tactics and techniques that are outside of the box. Now, the reason why this is important is because if you are a black belt and you are very good at, let's say, traditional jujitsu, and you go against another black belt who is very good at traditional jujitsu, you will feel some form of like, oh, they're going to do this, I'm going to do this, they're going to do, and then it turns into system versus system. Well, if you were that same high level black belt and you went against a white belt, the white belt wouldn't be able to do anything to you. But on the other hand, the same, why? Because why? Why wouldn't the white belt be able to do anything to you? Because you are using a tool set that he does not know exists. He doesn't know what's happening. Now this is gonna go full circle right now. So if you were a high-level black belt and you were to grapple a high-level black belt who does not do traditional jiu-jitsu, sometimes those moves are outside of your frame of reference or your knowledge or your understanding. Therefore, in those situations and in those rules, because you've never done them before, you are a white belt. Now, I trained with Jordan Worth today, who is a fucking rubber guard freak, black belt, fucking awesome grappler. And I went into his rubber guard, where based on his ability to navigate rubber guard, I'm essentially a white belt because he's doing things that no other grappler I've ever grappled does. He's got freakish flexibility. He can put his fucking legs behind his head. He's got all these systems and things, and he's inverting, and he's like, you're in his guard, he's in your guard, right? And then he steps his legs over and then triangles his legs around your legs and falls back and starts going into legs, like leg lock entanglements. So these are all positions that no one plays. So unless you play them, you are essentially playing this game for the first time. And I believe that's what John Jones would make DC do. He wouldn't go wrestling for wrestling with DC. He would go like, hey, I'm going to tactically beat him. I'm going to stall him, stuff him, within the rules, because wrestling does have like activity rules. And then at some point in the match, probably near the end, if John wasn't feeling like he could just dominate DC, John would go into his back pocket and pull something out that he learned from Gordon Ryan or a combination of Gordon Ryan and Gable. And it would be some shit that, even though DC is the more accomplished traditional wrestler, DC would be a white belt in that exact exchange. Does that make sense? Right? So I would pick John Jones. Furthermore, John Jones is a fucking freak athlete. He's essentially a decade younger than DC. And at some point, there's going to be a crossing of like John's athletic ability and really good wrestling is going to surpass DC's deteriorating body that he's unfortunately not taking the best care of, and his elite level wrestling, right? So at some point, those two things are going to cross each other. I believe John Jones, this is the even hotter take. Aside from all that he could do, I believe he also could potentially beat DC in straight up wrestling for wrestling. As crazy as that sounds, he's training with Gable Steveson. If he wanted to get ready, and this fight was in, 90 days, he could train with Gable, get the fucking craziest looks. As DC's worrying about getting the weight off, John Jones is getting the fucking hardest rounds imaginable. And I believe, okay, I got more proof. Let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. When John first met DC, John Jones walked up to DC backstage at a USC event. He goes, hey man, I heard you're a good wrestler. People tell me you're a good wrestler. And DC's like, yeah man, you don't know who I am? John Jones said to DC, no, I don't know who you are, but I bet I could take you down. That was their first interaction. So that's where the beef started. For the entire time up until they fought, DC was running with the narrative like, yo, this kid's disrespectful. He's never wrestled anybody like me. And the community, the narrative was that, like, man, that was cocky of John. There's no way John could take him down. Why is he disrespecting an Olympian like that? That's foolish and childish and, impossible. This fucking kid's crazy. Well, when they fought, John took DC down 3 times out of 5 attempts. That is a 60% takedown accuracy. Daniel Cormier, who said John could never take him down and he can take John down at will, only got 1 takedown out of 8 attempts, which is 12.5% accuracy. So, what is that? 5 times, essentially 5 times more takedowns. He was 5 times more accurate with his takedowns. And you're telling me that just because it's on a fucking wrestling mat that all of a sudden DC is going to tech fall him 10-0? The same way DC was confident. He's saying the exact same thing he said before they fought. Hey, man, you could never take me down. I can take you down at will, blah, 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 blah. And but then they fought and it was backwards. And now the narrative's changed. Oh, see, well, if it was different, if there were no strikes involved, it was on a wrestling mat. If we had on singlets, well, then you could never take me down and I can take you down. Right. But like, based on DC's misunderstanding of what he was dealing with in the first fight, leads one to believe that he may be susceptible to overestimating his skill set and underestimating John Jones' skill set again, because it's already done. He already did it. He already underestimated him. He already overestimated himself. He got taken down by 5 times the accuracy. He got taken down 3-1, right? That's 3 times the amount of takedowns against a guy who said was not in his class, was not in his league, couldn't take him down once, and he could take down at will. So he was completely, absolutely wrong. And why would we believe that he's right all of a sudden? And as much as I fucking like DC, go follow DC. So, like, there's a likelihood he's wrong. And guess what? This is the coldest part. This is why I do want to see the match, because that was the point against the match. Because I don't want to see DC lose to John Jones again, unfortunately, especially not in wrestling. That would be brutal. But the counterpoint is as fucking crazy as it sounds that I think John Jones would beat DC in a straight up wrestling match. That's why I want to see him wrestle, because DC has every right to prove me wrong. Now, I would not believe he's going to do it. I would think that John could be the underdog because it's straight wrestling. I would think that that would be a good bet. I'm not encouraging anyone to gamble. I'm just saying, right, based on the precedent, I didn't see Cormier having a lot of anything for John Jones. And now all of a sudden they're going to wrestle and it's going to be different. Okay. Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah. What else did he say? Yeah, he called him a little crybaby bitch, right? And this leads us into the gym. So I was telling you guys about the theory of like what's in the box of traditional and then what's non-traditional. And I feel like John has very unconventional tactics and techniques. And there, how deep you guys want to get? There is a spiritual, it's like an ancient spiritual Indian text. It's called the Bhagavad Gita. And in the Bhagavad Gita, I believe it's the 2nd chapter, it says that you are not entitled to the outcome. You are only entitled to the process, right? And so as much as DC would like to win, he's not entitled to the outcome because he has a past or a history or anything like that. The same way that I'm a black belt, I'm not entitled to just go smashing other black belts, especially when they are operating outside of my skill set and I'm playing into their non-traditional game. You know what I'm saying? So there's like this whole world out there of where can I force my opponent into unfamiliar territory, right? And when we're talking about spiritual texts, lessons, Bhagavad Gita, and the process, what is my process looking like to where I have game plans built in tactically that I can take this person I'm fighting rather than fight them where we're both equally skilled and it's a battle? Where can I take them where they have a skill discrepancy, where I have a skill fucking max out? Okay. I've been able to win 9 professional MMA fights, all 9 by submission, against people who knew that I was good at submissions, but yet I was still able to submit them. And I haven't shot a fucking takedown in well over a decade. How is that possible? How is that fucking possible? Oh man, he's just good at jujitsu. Am I good at jujitsu? Because you don't think they train with people that are good at jujitsu? Or maybe I know something that they don't know, which is everybody in jiu-jitsu does X, Y, and Z. Nobody goes outside of that framework. If I have 3 moves from every position that are outside of that framework, if I can bait this dude into shooting on me and then I can put him into a position he's unfamiliar with that I have fucking unlimited expertise in. I can easily submit him. I can make it look like fucking magic. And I believe that's what John Jones could, in theory, do to DC. I would love to see them do the trilogy in wrestling. I would love to see it in RAF. DC says that the offer was from some other organization, I guess some Thailand or Russian organization that had them on a reality show type shit. But I don't want to see it in that. I want to see it in RAF, Real American Freestyle. Let me check the chat, guys. I see some new people popping on. We got Wrestling World. What's up, bro? What up? What up? What up, man? We got Aubrey Gordon in the chat. Why do wrestlers stand and bang with other wrestlers like Kobe and Kamaru? So that's a great question. I'm gonna get the chat and then I'm gonna answer that. Yeah, because there's actually a common answer, and then there's a more nuanced answer. I'm going to give you both right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do here. We got and Jones and Jones cheated that fight as well. Yeah, man. So that's a whole other. That's a great. Hey, does he get an asterisk? Right? Did DC actually win because John popped for steroids? Like, what are the like? Is that what you know what I mean? Dude, yeah, they fucking hate each other. Oh fuck, dude. Yeah, okay. Before we get into some crazy shit, even crazier than what I'm talking about, because I'm fucking already gone on fucking spiritual teachings and martial arts. But why do wrestlers stand and bang with other wrestlers like Kobe and Kamaru? Oftentimes, the common answer would be that their wrestling cancels each other out. So then they're just going to stand and bang because neither one can take the other one down, in theory, right? I would say that in that scenario, it's a little more subtle than that because I believe that they both would like to take each other down, but pushing super hard in wrestling, especially what they were doing in like a 5-round fight against somebody who you have to fucking really wrestle and chain wrestle and shoot and reshoot, they're not going to get each other down just instantly. It's a high energy expenditure. Whereas if they were to attempt that and fail, and now their fucking shoulders and their arms are cooked and they're fucking filled with blood and they're breathing and they're swallowing, like there's a bloody taste that comes from your like lungs and throat when you're that exhausted. And they're feeling that in the first couple rounds and they still have to fight 3 more rounds. Dude, that's a bad look. That's a very dangerous position to be in. So I believe in a lot of fights like that, they consensually, like non-verbally, agree to avoid a ton of wrestling just because even if it's not like a consensual agreement between them, like this guy knows, hey man, it's going to be a motherfucker to take him down. And while I could take him down, I could also potentially gas and then get beat the fuck up. So let's just try our skill set standing against each other. And if you're having success standing, you're like, why would I expend more energy attempting something when I'm already winning? Now, it would behoove the other party to either pick up the pace and start winning in the striking, or maybe at that point, that would push someone who doesn't want to risk it, does not want to risk gassing out, but now they're losing the fight. Now they have to start wrestling because they have to go to plan B, right? And risk gassing and getting beat up. Also, yeah, John's cheap, dude. Guys, one of my fucking the most realest moments in all of MMA is when there was the John Jones and DC interview on live television where they thought that the cameras had stopped recording, but they were still mic'd. And then DC says something to John Jones about the effect of like, dude, man, you really are fake, man. You are fake, man. You are good at being fake. And then John Jones is like, hey, bro, like, I'll thank you, bro. I'll fuck you up or something, right? And then DC's like, bro, man, fuck you, dude. You're such a piece of shit. I would spit on you. If we were in the same room together, I would spit on you. And John goes, no, you wouldn't. And he goes, what would you do to me, John? How would you stop me? And he goes, I'd fucking kill you. And he goes, no, DC. I would literally kill you. And the mic was still on. And it's like, dude, that's where John Jones's fucking head is at, right? He's like ready to fucking do real fucking damage. So I thought that was one of the realest moments in MMA fight promotion history because they weren't doing it for the camera. They were doing it off camera and they just happened to have mics still on and the cameras were still rolling. And then that footage got leaked, bro. That was crazy. These two motherfuckers hate each other. So that's the other thing about this fight or this wrestling match, super fight, is that if they were to super fight in wrestling, it may turn into a real fucking fight because they've already fought at a press conference before. They swung on each other. You know what I mean? They they got into it. I believe it was at the MGM, knocked each other off fucking stage and all kinds of shit. They physically fought at the face off. So maybe this one they would fight again. And I'm not saying that that's what they should do, but like that's how much they fucking hate each other. So, anyways, yeah, I've been on this Bhagavad Gita wave with the process, not the outcome, because a lot of people stress out in fights and they go like, "Oh man, you know what's gonna happen?" Like, dude, none of that's in your control. You're not entitled to any of that. All you're entitled to is the process, right? Did you train hard? Did you put in your effort? Did you think about your tactics and your techniques? Are you going to give 100% effort? Those are all things that we can control. The outcome is outside of our control. So if there's anyone in the chat who knows anyone who is an aspiring martial artist, that is something to consider, is that the outcome is not in our control, only the process is. So yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend about that. She's got a degree in philosophy. So she taught herself English, which has different characters. She's from China. She taught herself English in her fucking spare time, learned an entirely different language, teaches English in America, got a 4.0 at Berkeley, right? She's a fucking genius. Fucking absolute genius. I'm learning Chinese right now. It's just fucking hard. They have all different characters. It's not like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's like drawings and shit, right? With like a paintbrush. So I'm also learning Spanish. So this is the other thing. This is the other fucking thing. I'm getting shredded because I work out all the time. So I got this theory of like, we're already doing 85 to 90% of the work, right? Most of you guys in the chat have worked out at some point, right? Like, why are we not fucking exactly the way we want to be, right? Why are we not elite in martial arts? Like elite, right? We're already doing we're going through the motions if we just put a little more focused effort, right? So for instance, with me, Felony Charles Bennett was living with me. He's like, bro, all you eat is fucking cookies and all you drink is energy drinks. And I'm like, bro, all you drink is Mountain Dew and all you eat is fucking baked spaghetti. And he would smoke Black and Milds. And we had this like crazy thing because we're both over the age of 40 and we're both out here winning fights. We're both training, but we have these like crazy nutritional programs. And I thought to myself recently, I said, man, listen, I'm already at the gym all the time. I'm already lifting. I'm already training. If I just cut these fucking cookies out, I'm going to look like I'm stepping out of a fucking hyperbaric time chamber. I'm going to look like I'm aging in reverse, like I'm a fucking model for Muscle and Fitness magazine or some shit. So that's what I'm on right now. I'm also on like, why not just get elite from every position? That the second that someone were to like shoot a takedown on you, you just boom, tap them instantly. Because I'm like, fucking really close to that already. But like, why don't I just put that little extra effort in? Why not? Right. And so sometimes I think about that in terms of like, I'm pretty good at Spanish. Why don't I just learn Spanish? So I got a 172-day streak on Duolingo popping off right now. ¿Quieres hablar conmigo en español? Quiero practicar contigo, pero no entiendo todas las palabras. Hablar conmigo espacio y claro, por favor. Quiero ¿cómo se dice? Oh, me llamo David, mucho gusto en conocerte. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You guys thought it was just fight circus tees and fucking UFC hats mismatching up in this bitch. You thought it was just pro MMA titles with the lights shining off them and the black belt in the background. Nah, bro, we're fucking multilingual over here. And now I'm learning Chinese, and Chinese is hard as fucking fuck, bro. And then I'm like, dude, there's people out here that learn 30 languages. So to them, learning Chinese is probably fairly straightforward, right? So if I take my mindset and I go, what if I was the person who knew 30 languages and I was looking back at this version of me? What would that version of them say to this version of me? Which is another thing you can do with martial arts progress, with fitness progress, with relationship progress, with motherfucking money progress. Hey, if I want to make $10 million this year, that sounds hard. Well, is it hard to Elon Musk? Is it hard to Bill Gates? Is it hard to Mark Zuckerberg? Is it hard to Mark Cuban? Is it hard? Like you could list a lot of people that if they only made 10 million this year, they'd be like, dude, I'm disgusted and I'm going to drive off a fucking cliff. I'm literally physically nauseous. I'm sick to my stomach. Only 10 million. So to them, 10 million is an absolute fucking joke. So what would that version of you, looking back at this current version of you, think? What would they advice would they give you? What idea would they have? Right? That's completely obvious that they could tell you right now. You know, same thing with fitness. Like, let's say you want fucking shredded 12-pack abs. Okay. What would the version of you that has that say to you right now? Let's say you want a better relationship. Well, what would the person in the future version of you who has the perfect relationship look like? What type of partner would they be? And what would they suggest that this person do? So you can extrapolate into the future and get advice from your future self. Hey, what type of fighter would I want to be in the future? What would that person give me advice today? What would they tell me to do today? So anyways, we're getting off on a tangent, guys. Let me take a little sip of this caffeinated. Dude, this, you guys know. You already know. People are in the comments telling me to stop drinking energy drinks. So shout out to that guy, because that guy actually cares. He cares. He's giving me like heartfelt advice. Like, bro, you're cranking out these energy drinks and these caffeinated sodas. Dude, that's not help. And I'm like, bro, I appreciate you. I love you for saying that. Thank you. I'm built different. I'm out of my fucking mind. Okay. Also, but like shout out to that guy. There was also somebody else in the chat, right? That was like, what are you talking about your drinks for? We don't want to hear about these drinks, dude. Fucking I love caffeinated beverages. I love combat. I love caffeine. And oddly enough, so do a lot of people. It's one of the most popular things in the chat. People talking to me about their caffeine consumption because we vibe like that, right? We vibe like that, okay? Real ones recognize real ones. That's why I made the fucking shirts, right? The shirts don't say fake, buster ass, fucking tell you what you want to hear ones, right? They don't go, they're not blow sunshine up your fucking skirt, pat you on the butt and tell you you're pretty. That's not what the shirt says. The shirt says real one, okay? That's even that, right? Hey, hot take, John Jones would beat DC in wrestling. That's not the popular opinion. It's the real opinion. It's how I really feel. Anyways, guys, stay authentic, project out into the future, see the future version of yourself. Look backwards at yourself in this moment. Look backwards at yourself. Like, even that super future version can see a future version of you that's already achieved your goals. So the final boss version of you can see a future version of you, and then you can transport this version of you into the future where your goal is already achieved, and then have the final boss version of you looking back at the future version of you like, bro, you did it. You're on your way to becoming me. And then you can hop back into this version of you and move forward in the future. Honestly, DC looked really good the second time he fought John until he got head kicked. And bro, that's a great, healthy, well adapted, kind way of looking at DC. John Jones looks at him differently. John Jones goes, bro, I told you I was going to head kick knock you out a year before we fought. You had a year to prepare. And then I head kick knocked you out. And DC's like, bro, you got lucky. And John Jones is like, look, bro, I literally told you about it a year before. You have tendencies. I told you you have tendencies when you slip. And I'm going to head kick knock you out. And I forced you into the tendency. And then I head kick knocked you out exactly like I said I was going to do a year prior and let you prepare for it. So that's John's mentality. John's on a whole other level. So to the like while we're watching, we're like, dude, shit, DC looks like he's good. He's in this fight. And John's just like, okay, cool. This guy thinks he's doing something. Watch. I'm gonna get him comfortable, and then I'm gonna get his tendency. Watch this. I'm gonna throw this over his shoulder. He's gonna slip. Boom! Head kick knockout. Dude, John's a master, guys. Anyways, future project yourself. You can do anything you set your mind to. God made you in his image. I love you guys. Have a good night. We're going to hop on here tomorrow. Make sure you got notifications on so you can hop in the chat with your boy. And hey, man, if you feel like dropping some super likes and some super chats, you know what I'm saying? We're doing giveaways. We're doing all kinds.